Welcome to Marketing Matchmaker, the show where coaches, consultants, service providers, and business owners learn the inside secrets to growing your business, increasing your revenue, and scaling your impact without sacrificing your freedom. If you're ready to unlock the strategies that will help you attract your ideal clients, refine your message, and build a business that truly supports the life you want, then stick around because today's episode is packed with insights and action items you need to take your business to the next level. Let's dive in. Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Marketing Matchmaker. I am super excited about today's guest because if any of you have been around for a couple of years, you've probably heard my story where I built a multi-six-figure digital marketing agency and burned myself out, all because of the topic we're jumping in today. So today I have Shannon Whaley on, and she's going to help talk to us about anti-hustling, which I love this topic because I did burn myself out by hustling my buns off. Shannon, take a second, introduce yourself, tell people who you are, what you do, who you serve, and kind of how you got into this whole topic.
Absolutely. So that's the story of so many of us. I work with coaches, consultants, and service providers who are building multiple six-figure businesses without having to hustle, without burning out or getting out of the burnout and back into alignment. And so, this really came out of my own burnout and realizing that as my business was getting bigger, I could not sustain what I was doing. My nervous system was shot. I was just doing too many things, not enough of the important things. Part of it too was I could not hit six figures to save my life. I'd been doing this. I was like 5 years in. I feel like that's kind of like the norm. But for me, it was like, so this is also,
It
and we can
felt
get into
really
this.
long.
Yeah. And like it's been perpetuated and talked about too of like, oh, easy six figures, easy six figures. It is not easy
It
six
is
figures.
not. That first six figures
Newsflash.
is the hardest thing you hit.
It's so elusive, right? And what I've heard too is that your first six figures are the hardest, but then after that, things you just kind of like start to figure out what you're doing and so I was like, well, that's a relief. And then here comes a recession. but um but what I realized too was that I paused my business. I took a contract job that was in the coaching industry, right? I needed to stabilize my income. That ended up being another situation of hustling. And so I realized when I got back into my coaching business that I could not do what I had been doing. That if I was going to have the success that I desired in the way that I desired, that I had to run my business my business model needed to change. And so that's where anti-hustle business model was born and business was born. So that was February of 2020 up until now. And so that's what I'm doing. I really started to prioritize my pleasure and my play and my mental health. And I changed how we did things. So I was focusing on, my business was built around my self care and my workouts and making sure I'm taking care of my mental health. And then I would schedule my business activities, not
The other way
have
around.
a whole week, right? Like, which is what we're taught to do
Right?
when we're working for other people, is we put all of that stuff off, or we'll do it after work. Well, that never happens. You're an entrepreneur. So your to-do list is never ending. And then all of a sudden it's 10 p.m. and you didn't go to the gym
Yeah.
again. And then it's like
Yeah.
a year later, and then 2
Yeah.
years later, right? And then the weekend you're so exhausted and burnt out that you have to sleep the whole time. So like you're just not, why did we start this business again?
Right? That is such a familiar story because I did that. Like I did exactly that when I was building out my agency. I worked my buns off to the point where I felt like my agency ate my life. Like it
Yeah.
was just work. And I did something similar. I had to step back and go, mm, this is not, I was all kinds of health issues arise, like all of the things. And I'm like, this is
Of
not the
course.
way it's not why I built this business to begin with. And so that's why I shut down the agency and pivoted to consulting
Mm-hmm.
to do two things: to help people that are similar to the people you help, right? Help them create something that's stable and that's consistent and that they don't necessarily have to hustle every day to do,
Mm-hmm.
but also to enjoy my life.
Yeah, because it's like we get, I mean, this is my story too. And so many people that I hear is that we get so far away from what our original vision was,
Uh-huh.
right? Like we're sold the freedom, time freedom, work from anywhere, money
As long as you're working
freedom. But
24/7.
yeah, right. Yeah, I can work from anywhere at the beach because I don't have boundaries and I don't know, and we're on vacation and I
Exactly.
hate my life, right? And that is so common. And what happens is hyper productivity is rewarded. We're taught how to be employees. We're not taught how to be entrepreneurs. So we don't know how to run our business. All of a sudden, we have all this free time. Like, especially if you've quit your job or if
Yeah.
maybe you're not working outside the home, you have all this free time. You don't. And then if you're neurodivergent, like myself, lots of my clients, right?
Hmm.
So many of us, we don't know what we're supposed to be doing. We're going to do it all and it's all important and it has to be done today.
Right? Yes, absolutely.
And it's usually not money making activities.
No, unfortunately. And on the other side of that, I think also it's often, especially for those of us that are neurodivergent, we're so hyper focused on the one thing that
The
all of
wrong
these
thing.
other that all of these other pieces get lost in the shuffle
Yeah.
of, making this one thing that may or may not really be
I mean,
productive
from my experience,
to
it's
the
not
business.
like so what I did and my clients do is they get a hold of Canva Pro. See you later.
I get that.
Right? Yeah, same. And yeah, usually the banners are really ugly anyway, because like we're not design people. So we're
No.
screwing around in Canva. We're spending so much time in Canva creating ugly designs. But we have something to show. Look, I made this thing. What's really going to move the needle is sales or relationships,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
So if you're not posting, if you're not, and I work with online entrepreneurs, right, using
Yeah.
social media and telling their stories, right? So if you don't have a background in marketing, if you don't have a background in sales, like these are all skill sets.
Yes. Yes.
And if you don't have any training in these other skill sets, you're just going to like screw around in stuff that feels fun.
Yeah. And I honestly see that with a lot of my clients when they come to me because they don't know what to do first or next,
Right.
especially around marketing. There are so many options. What platform? Do I do video? Do I do whatever? Like all of the things that can send you down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Um, and they feel like they have to do it all.
Yes. Yes. That's one thing that any client who starts off with me, my ask is where are you showing up? What's fun? Right? Because that has to be a huge part. Like you have to enjoy it. We'll pivot later if you're not getting engagement or like if you're
Right.
not
You're
doing
not
it
getting
right. But like
traction.
my goal is like, how can we get you showing up
Consistently.
consistently, defining that. So I mean, my thing that I say is like, if you could show up for your crappy 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, you can show up for your business Monday through Friday. You don't have to do it 9 to 5, but just like post something, talk about your business every day, Monday through Friday. That's my ask,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And show up on one platform because each platform, people don't realize this, but each platform has
Different algorithms, different
different
ways to
algorithms.
do things.
Absolutely. Instagram. What are you supposed to do in the stories? What are you supposed to do in the static posts? What are you supposed to be doing in the reels, right? Like there is um like a marketing plan, mosquitoes, for each one. Trying to um each one has a different
Yeah,
marketing plan, right? And so the whole thing is you want to go deeper with your audience and build relationships instead of trying to go wider. And so
yeah,
focus on for 90 days, like let's get you consistent. Let's figure out what your mindset is. What are the stories you're telling yourself? Where do you start falling off? Where do things start feeling hard? If you have a cycle, like where are you in your cycle? Because that's going to affect how you're showing up, right? Like your
yeah,
moods, all of these
absolutely.
things. So it's like, it's kind of science. We need to just like, we need to know what the variables are so we know which ones to change. But if you're doing too many things, we don't know what to change. And then we don't know what worked or what's not working.
I couldn't agree more, honestly. I think we have such a similar mindset when it comes for my side of things to marketing in general, just because it is essential to understand like where you're showing up, how you're showing up, and what your message is. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think that is, especially with this hustle approach, right? I have to be everywhere. I have to say everything. I have to attract everyone. And the reality is when you're trying to do that, no one's listening.
Yeah, totally. And it's give, I got to give value, right? And so like reframing that. But this is the thing where I got sucked in. It sounds like you were sucked into
Oh,
this,
yeah.
right? So I started coaching back in 2015. So it was Amy Porterfield, Marie Forleo, right? So like all of these
Right.
marketing giants, they're millionaires who never talked about how big their teams were.
Right. Yes.
How big is their ad spend?
Yes.
They have copyright. They're not doing the thing. When people are like, "Oh, Amy Porter followed me." I'm like, "Sure she did." Amy Porterfield's not in
She's not on
Instagram.
social media. I
She
can
has
guarantee
her
you.
husband. She has a dog, right? Like she's not doing. No, she didn't. But people don't know that because they don't have a background in marketing. They
Right.
just want to be a good coach. They just want to be, they want to change people's lives, right? But there's this whole other set that no one like really distinguishes between is you as a service provider, coach, I work with photographers and web designers and all that, right?
Right.
And business owner,
Yeah.
because it's a whole other thing. So you probably got training to be a coach, but you never got training to be a business owner.
That is so true. I mean, I think one of the biggest lessons that I learned from my business coach, she's seven figures. Has, and she still works. Like she works and she plays. I'm not gonna deny that. I've seen them both. And her workday is not one I want to try and emulate.
Mm.
Even though she has a team and she has all the things, that was a
Mhm.
decision I made when I hit burnout, was that like
Totally.
I was trying to emulate the days of people that are different from me.
Yep.
And what I want out of life is very different. And I think that's one
Mhm.
of the things that people forget about why they started their business to begin with.
Mhm. Mhm. I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday, and she was asking me, like, where do you want, like, what level of business do you want? And it's hard for me to say, like, the numbers. I don't want that. Like, I know I don't want that kind of
Right?
business,
Yep.
right? So if that's what a seven-figure business looks like, I don't want it.
Right. I've also had seven-figure clients that have had the complete opposite,
Yeah.
where they have a much more relaxed lifestyle. And
Yeah.
I think it is about realizing what it is you want. Like, why did you
Mhm.
start your business? What kind of the financial freedom and the time freedom, are you actually getting that though?
I mean, that is a very valid question too. And this is the thing that, people, I'm really big on sharing my numbers and behind the scenes. And, I follow profit first. And so I am on a conservative salary. The money stays in the business, right? Um, but a lot of those higher level coaches, they're not sharing what they're actually taking home. So, yeah, your business, your company is a seven-figure business. But if you're only making like it, I mean, and I've heard too, like people that they're not even making six figures. Why do I have a seven-figure business if I'm not even bringing six figures home?
That is so true. And that's actually what ended up happening in my agency, right? It was multi six figures. I was, I think, 50 to 60,000 what I was bringing
Yeah,
home after paying everybody in the business and
exactly.
all of the things that went along with that. And it definitely was a huge wake up call. Like
Yeah.
that year when I was like, oh my God, I worked like 80 hours a week. I mean, it's like $10 an hour. Like I haven't made
Yeah.
$10.
What are we doing here?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
haven't made that much money, that little money, in a long time. And so what happens is if you don't learn how to run your business without hustling and using an anti-hustle business model, whatever you want to call it for yourself, right? What you'll end up doing is it's just like a dog chasing its tail. So you
Right.
need to make more money so you get more clients because you have more bills, there's a bigger ad spend, so we need more clients, need more money, there's more bills, right? And that's how you start to replicate that corporate mindset, the hyper productivity
Yeah.
mindset, and we're rewarded, unfortunately, so it works. The bad thing about hustling is it works.
True. For a time period anyway.
Sure, sure, there's something's going to give,
Exactly.
whether it's your mental health, your family, your relationship, your physical health, something. You can't run, you can't live like that, you can't run your business like that. And so, I work with clients who are just starting out, still in coach training, had finished coach training all the way up to multiple six, seven figure coaches and service providers. It's nice to get them early so I can show them.
An
Right. But a lot of,
alternative.
right. Yeah. So, like, hey, this is probably what you're seeing online. I'm going to pull back the mirror. And when they learn about ad budgets and when they learn about how much teams cost and VAs cost and how much these things cost, and that they're not being told the whole story, it's like the light bulbs go off of like, oh, okay, but you don't know what you don't know, so you're sucking
Right.
all of this in, the fancy branding, the rose gold, the Eiffel Tower pictures, like all of these. I mean, and I live in Italy, so like of course I'm going to be taking like fancy Italy pictures, so I it looks like this, but this is my life, it's not like lifestyle pictures.
Exactly. There is a difference.
Yeah. um it's that is really easy to get sucked in if you don't have the discernment yet.
Yeah.
And so many people don't because they're not jaded yet with the industry, right? And so learning how to undo that mindset is difficult. It's not impossible, but this stuff runs really deep. It's
Well, yeah, we're
really deep.
trained our entire life. You're supposed to
Exactly.
go to work, you work 40 hours, maybe 50 or 60, depending on how high up in corporate you
I'm saying
are.
now, yeah.
Um, and that's our entire, depending on what generation you're in. I think Gen Z has actually learned a little bit on, they've already adopted the anti-hustle culture a little bit
I
more.
hope so.
But like I think Gen X and above and a lot of older millennials are still in that space
Yeah.
where we've been trained our entire lives that that's what it's supposed to look like. You're supposed to
Yeah.
work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Hmm.
Why?
And that it has to be hard,
Yeah,
that, right, like making money has to be hard. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
absolutely. Yeah,
Right, so like all of these thoughts and beliefs on top of the money mindset stuff, like generational money trauma, um like cultural money stuff. So all of this is just so entrenched in what we're doing. No one tells us that this
absolutely
is like the ultimate personal development, but
not.
there's just so much you
That
start
goes into it.
sifting through. Yeah. Like all the beliefs around selling and creating programs and pricing your offers, and is anybody going to buy this, and how much money is my time worth, and how much money is my expertise worth, and charge what you're worth is like the worst thing we've ever been told.
That There's never been a truer statement on that. I mean, honestly, you can't put value or
Yeah.
worth on yourself as a person or your knowledge or anything else. Um, when you're looking at pricing, charged with the value that you're providing your
Right.
audience instead, because
Mhm.
what they can make off of your knowledge is a whole different ball of wax.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so if someone is in this space of, hustling it, what would be a tip you'd give them? Like what to even to help them recognize that they're in the spot?
Mm-hmm. Well, check in with yourself first. If you, I feel like a common statement is, I'm doing all of the things and I'm not getting the results that I want. That's like a huge red flag. If family and friends are complaining that they never see you because you're always working,
That was a
that's a
huge red flag for me.
that's a red flag, right? Oh, I'm just getting my business off the ground. I just need some more time. You're just going to keep replicating that, right? Like, so this is a conversation around your boundaries. Like, do you have business boundaries? Do you have personal boundaries? Because if you have problems with personal boundaries, you're going to have problems with your business boundaries.
It's
Ask
true,
me how I
Shannon.
know.
I'm with you right there, my friend.
So if you're just like, my recommendation is just notice, just pay attention to, how are you spending your day? How do you feel about your business? Are you dreading any part of your day? Are you waking up panicked? These are all things that, like, are you sick to your stomach? These are all,
All of those things are things that I can totally remember,
yeah,
2 years ago,
yeah,
waking up at 4 a.m., literally having a panic attack, like
yes, same.
ridiculousness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Oh,
I was just like racking my brain of what my journal was like a couple years ago.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So, and
Okay.
then it's like, yeah, look at your schedule, like, and start to do some visioning work. Like, what do you want your schedule to look like? How do you want to feel in your business? If anything was possible, which it is, right? Like, how do you want to feel when you wake up? What's your ideal day look like? Do you want to have, what do you want your hobbies to be like? Do you want to be back in the gym? Like, do you want to drop your kids off? Do you want to be there and be done working when they get off the school bus? What do you want your day to look like? Because then that gives us an idea of where we're heading. And then you start to see the gaps, right? Like, well, my day does not look anything like what I want it to. Great. How can we just do like one thing that looks like your ideal day, and
Yeah.
just slowly starting to, right, like, incorporate things.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So, my audience, if they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way
Mm-hmm.
for them to do that?
Antihustlebiz.com.
Awesome.
So I have an anti-hustle business checklist. So that's how you can get started there.
Love that.
And yeah. And I have my own podcast too, the Anti-Hustle Business Podcast.
I
So
love
that's
that.
brand new. We just started that. Yeah. So that's exciting. So those are two of the main places.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Shannon, for being on and chatting about this topic. It really is one that's kind of near and dear to my heart, having gone through all of it. So, for those of you that are out there, if you are in this space where you wake up in a panic at 4 o'clock in the morning because whatever is going through your mind right that second, might be time to reach out to Shannon.
Mhm.
And if you're in a space where you want to grow your business, increase your revenue, and scale your impact, and you're not sure what to do first or next around your marketing, head over to yourmarketingmatchmaker.com and schedule a free strategy session. I promise you'll walk away with at least one actionable item that can help you go to the next level. Until next time, it was great talking to you. Thank you for listening to the Marketing Matchmaker podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear your feedback. Please head over to Apple, iTunes, and leave a review so we can hear from you. And if you are a coach, consultant, or online course creator who are looking to grow your business, increase your income, and scale your impact, Connect with me at yourmarketingmatchmaker.com. I look forward to hearing from you.